Hi everyone, if you're new here, I'm Alan with Earthglow, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you all with me as I make shampoo bars for the first time using a recipe that I will have in the description box for all of you. Now, solid shampoos are typically healthier than liquid shampoos, which are going to be detergent based generally, and those are going to tend to strip your hair of its natural oils. So solid shampoos not only don't do that, but they're also plastic free, and they are typically made without parabens, sulfates, SLS, phthalates, and silicone. Instead, they are made of rich oils, butters, and conditioners, which are compressed and packed into a highly condensed solid form. One single 3-ounce shampoo bar can replace up to 2 regular sized liquid shampoos. On average, I will say that they have lasted me between 60 and 100 washes. And again, this is from a 3-ounce bar. And I've had a lot of customers ask me if they can use bar soap on their hair. And my answer to that question has always been no, it's not the best idea, because bar soap typically will have a pH between an 8 and a 10 or so. And the scalp is a totally different animal when it comes to pH and what is healthiest for it. Typically, solid shampoos are going to be a little bit on the acidic side, actually, unlike bar soaps, which are on the alkaline side. One of the reasons I love using this particular recipe is because it is so full of lather and it's so soft and creamy, and it just leaves my hair feeling like I've been at the spa. So if you'd like to learn how to make these and follow along with me as I make them for the very first time using a pretty well-known recipe that is also vegan, then just keep on watching.
All right, so I've got the ingredients all here in my recipe, well, formula, I should say. It's printed off here. I just multiplied everything by 3 so that I can make 3 of the 100-gram bars. And the very first thing I'm going to be using is doing the dry ingredients. And so I'm going to be using my SLSa, which is not the same thing as SLS. They're very different, even though they do sound similar. Sodium lauryl sulfate is not the same thing as SLSa at all. And then I'm also going to be blending in my SCI, and I just wrote it on the bag. I actually got this at Lotion Crafter. The SLSa I purchased on Amazon. And then I'm also going to be adding in my white rice flour. I got this one at Gordon's Food Service because they I did not, this was the one ingredient that I forgot to get. And so, yep, it looks like just those 3 things. And I am so excited. And so I also have my dust mask, and this is a pretty powerful respirator, and I do have the filters on there as well, and I will link this guy in the description. But this is a great mask for anything that you do, like spray painting, lots of different DIY projects. Now when I put this on, I am going to do a voiceover, so you know what, let me add the white rice flour first, and then because that will not require the mask. But the solid surfactants will definitely require a mask, because those particles are much lighter than air, and once you open those bags, they are going to go airborne pretty fast on you. Okay, so for our rice flour today, I am going to be adding, let's see, 45 grams, and I do have a grams scale specifically for this. And I will also link the gram scale for you all. I just purchased that, I believe, on Amazon, and it's so useful when you're doing smaller batches to be able to have something that is so precise. Like this will go to the 100th of a gram. Just take that one, there we go, 45.02. You can just get incredibly precise with this. There we go, 45.0. And then I am going to, I don't think this will work with a Pyrex though on it. Yeah, because this thing, yeah, that's gonna just mess up the scale. I shouldn't have even done that. You know what I'm gonna do is, let's see, the other ones I need 69 and 120. So let me grab my other scale. So this scale, I will also link for you all, but this one I got on Amazon. It was kind of pricey, but I will say that it's a great scale. It's not precise to the 100th of a gram, but it is a pretty precise scale to the gram, and I really enjoy it. So I'm gonna get a separate spoon out, and then I'm going to put on my dust mask, and so I'm gonna sound really weird, so I'm just gonna cut out the audio, but basically what I'll be doing, I will be adding 120 grams of the SCI, as well as 69 grams of the SLSa. And then I will be just setting that off to the side. Wow, that was incredible how much of that went airborne. And I'm still kind of half breathing it in, even though it appears to be settled. It's like it gets in your throat almost, and I literally had the mask on the whole time. All right, so we are now just measuring out some more of the ingredients here, and I found that this gram scale worked really well because I was just making a small batch of these. And I will have this whole paper with the recipe in the description box if any of you want to try it out. But we are looking at the wet phase here. Just measuring out my Cocamidopropyl Betaine here. And the wet ingredients are so much easier than the dry ingredients just because you don't have to deal with the solid surfactants. And those are those little teeny tiny particles that go airborne so easily, where you could just see that dust like rising up in the air. The closest thing I can equate to it is when I was making concrete candles before I started wearing a mask, which is, you know, it's a good idea to just start wearing a mask from the beginning because of the airborne, the crystalline silica when you're making concrete candles, but honestly, this was worse. And then we've got the hydrolyzed rice protein here. This is one of those super rich and nourishing ingredients that our scalp just absolutely loves. Just giving that one a little bit of a shake. Probably not necessary, but why not? And I'm going to be using my chopstick for most of these wet ingredients just to keep it going nice and straight as I pour it in. And last but not least, we are just going to add our preservative just so you can see what all those oils look like. And I would probably recommend doing them all separately because if you were to mess it up, you'd have to kind of start over since I'm pouring them all into the same container. But I've done quite a bit of measuring, and I've kind of gotten a really good control so that I can go really, really slow, but definitely still recommended to do them all separately and then combine them afterwards. And then this final ingredient is vitamin E, and also known as tocopherol. It's a really beautiful oil. I'd say it's optional, but it's really gonna take your shampoo bars to the next level. You can see it's so viscous. It's almost like pouring honey. So I'm just kind of giving all those oils a mix here, and this is our wet phase. I'm just gonna grab our dry ingredients here and make a little bit of a well, almost like when you're making a cake, and you are gonna put your eggs and your oils into your flour and sugar,
And I'm just gonna pour all of those wet ingredients into that little well. And then we're gonna take a spatula here and just kind of almost try to weave them in, kind of going from the outside and working inward. And your solid surfactants are in that dry phase, which is obviously present right now, being incorporated with the wet phase ingredients. And so you are going to get some of those very, very fine airborne particles. So definitely, if you took your mask off, hopefully you didn't, but you're going to want to make sure it's on, especially for this phase, because you can see, even on the video, all those very, very tiny particles becoming airborne. And now comes the fun part. So when you start getting to where you're not really mixing anymore with your spatula and you kind of got all these little grainy clumps, get in there with your hands just like you are kneading some bread dough. You just get in there with your hands and make this almost into a single patty. Just like forming a hamburger patty. All right, and just to give you all a little bit of a lather test here. So this one I used quite a bit. So this is about half of the bar, but you can see right away how you just get these really beautiful big bubbles. Turn that off for a second here. But this is what I would do, is just rub it directly on my scalp. And you really don't need very much, but if you like a ton of lather, you can keep going with it. But just kind of to show, it feels almost like a lotion or a shaving cream. Oh, I'm absolutely in love.